Chapter 81. A Rare Moment of Ease. The moment they stepped into the void realm, all three of them froze completely, their mouths agape enough to fit an egg, their eyes filled with disbelief. It took a long while before Lin Yu finally snapped out of it, stammering, Big brother Wu-Di, to this is just too huge." Su Wanwan also came back to her senses, murmuring softly, "It's so surreal, like a dream." She had never imagined that such a space could be opened up inside the RV, completely beyond her comprehension. "Yes," Lin Shi nodded gently, her face full of shock. She had guessed part of it earlier, but it was nothing compared to the awe-inspiring sight before her. Seeing the stunned expressions on the three, a faint smile tugged at the corner of Wu-Di's mouth. "Don't just stand there. The space here is vast. You can explore it slowly later. It's on the vehicle anyway, it's not going anywhere." Oh, Lin Yu responded dazedly. Returning inside the supermarket, Wu-Di looked at the three and spoke in a steady tone. "I'm going to exchange for a batch of weapons. No one knows what tomorrow will bring, but you all must learn to fight." Lin Yue was just about to speak when Lin Shi gently pulled her back, saying earnestly, "Big brother Wu-Di, we'll follow your arrangements." Su Wanwan also nodded lightly, her gaze firm. "Big brother Wu-Di, my shooting is decent. I still have the hand crossbow you gave me earlier. You point, I'll shoot." Wu-Di gave a slight nod. "My previous promise still stands. I won't force you to do anything. But if there comes a day when I'm not around, you must, at the very least, be able to survive independently." "All right. Go finish exchanging the remaining resources. I'll meet up with you after I exchange for firearms. Use all the remaining points to stock up on daily supplies. Get whatever you want." Hearing this, Lin Yu nearly jumped with excitement. "Great. Big brother Wu-Di, you go exchange for weapons. Sister Wanwan, and I will go exchange for resources right away." Wu-Di had just turned and taken 2 steps when Lin Yue's enthusiastic voice came from behind him again. "Big brother Wu-Di, be sure to call me after you exchange for the weapons." Wu-Di arrived at the weapons section. After a brief moment of thought, he made his decision. QBZ-95 assault rifle times 800 points. Magazines times 500. 5,000 points. M9 pistol times 4. 400 points. Magazines times 500. 2,500 points. M9 pistol, green quality. Standard semi-automatic pistol, magazine capacity 15 rounds. Effective range 30 meters. Ammunition 9 millimeters. Reliable structure. Low failure rate. Easy for beginners to handle. This should arm them to the teeth. Once their physique improves, they won't be a liability anymore, Wu-Di calculated silently in his mind. After settling everything, his points took a substantial hit. Current remaining points, 16,603. Wu-Di sent a message directly to Lin Yu. "Use all the remaining points freely for purchases. I'll wait for you on the vehicle." After sending it, he headed straight back to the RV. The time was now 15:50. "Xiao Shi, monitor the surroundings continuously. Notify me immediately of any situation." "Received, Commander." In the following time, Lin Yu, Lin Shi, and Su Wanwan were seen making trip after trip, happily carrying supplies into the void realm. Even the 5 cubic meters refrigerator in the RV was packed full. Wu-Di was somewhat curious about how much stuff they had actually bought. But seeing the long-lost, relaxed, and happy expressions on their faces, Wu-Di felt a sudden, gentle ease in his heart. It seemed this apocalyptic survival game wasn't entirely cold and unbearable. Time passed slowly amidst the busy yet peaceful moving. A full 2 hours later, the three finally returned to the RV with satisfied looks. Entering the void realm in the end, only Lin Shi came back out. "Big brother Wu-Di, we bought a lot of daily supplies. Xiao Yue and Sister Su are still inside organizing them. Whatever you decide is fine." Wu-Di no longer had any special demands regarding material comforts. The feeling of firmly grasping his own strength and constantly growing stronger was what captivated him more. "Big brother Wu-Di, now that we have everything, I'll go prepare a proper meal," Lin Shi said softly. "Good, then I'll wait to taste your culinary skills." The interior of the vehicle fell quiet again, leaving only the faint clinking of kitchenware from the kitchen area, warm and reassuring. Wudi leaned back in his seat, allowing himself a rare moment of complete relaxation. Just as this tranquility was about to seep into his very being, the central control screen suddenly chimed with Xiaoxi's voice. "Commander, vehicles detected entering the parking lot." Chapter 82, Meeting Again. Wudi immediately looked up, gazing through the window toward the parking lot, only to see 4 familiar vans slowly driving in. So familiar. Could it be those 6 people? The moment he saw the vehicles, Wudi remembered the team of survivors he had encountered in the rust-corroded wasteland city. "Big brother Wudi?" Lin Shi stopped what she was doing and called out softly, a hint of vigilance in her eyes. "It's nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm still waiting to taste your cooking." Wudi smiled faintly and leaned back into his seat, not intending to provoke them. At this moment, 6 people were getting off the 4 vans one after another. It was exactly the team Wudi had encountered earlier in the rust-corroded wasteland city. "Look, that RV is here too." The short-haired girl recognized Wudi's vehicle at a glance and exclaimed in a low voice. "Talk about a small world." The short, chubby man's eyes darkened, his tone unfriendly. "He got away last time. He shouldn't be able to run this time, right?" Another girl chimed in, greed flickering in her eyes. Thinking of the frustration of being shaken off by Wudi last time, the anger in her heart flared up again. Let's not provoke him," the long-haired girl said worriedly. "Look closely at the roof of the vehicle, that cannon barrel, and the system prompt saying this is a safe zone. Let's not mess with him." The tall, thin man's expression was grave as he stared at the top of the RV, his tone filled with obvious apprehension. "What are you afraid of? There are more of us. Let's lure him out first. That cannon barrel might just be a prop. If a real fight breaks out, Zhao Cheng, you secretly use your talent to freeze him. Are you afraid we won't have a chance of winning?" The short, chubby man was unwilling to give up and leaned into the tall, thin man's ear, whispering to incite him. The 6 of them started arguing on the spot. In the end, only the short, chubby man and the girl who spoke first were still obsessed with the RV. The others didn't dare to approach. Even if they were unwilling, they had to suppress their evil thoughts and stood to the side, crestfallen. "Forget it. I'll go say hello." The tall, thin man took a deep breath and walked toward the RV. Just as he approached the RV, the door suddenly opened. Wudi stood by the doorway, his gaze sweeping calmly over the 6 people, and spoke indifferently. "For the sake of us all being fellow countrymen, I'll give you a reminder. You can exchange for supplies inside. Also, it's best not to have any thoughts you shouldn't have." After saying this, without waiting for a response, Wudi closed the door directly. What a pity. Inside the vehicle, Wudi murmured to himself, a trace of regret flashing in his eyes. He had heard the argument of the 6 people outside clearly, not missing a single word. What he regretted wasn't anything else, but that the other party hadn't dared to make a move. Otherwise, he could have just tested whether this parking lot was truly a safe zone. Lin Shi was still quietly busy in the kitchen, not asking another word. In the Void Realm, Lin Yue and Su Wanwan were still frantically organizing supplies. In the end, it was Wudi who had to go in and call them out to eat. At the dining table, Wudi looked at the 3 of them and sighed helplessly. "That mountain-like pile of stuff is your result. How long is it going to take to organize?" "Big brother Wudi, you don't know. The supermarket has everything. I bought so many pretty clothes, and Sister Wanwan and Sister also picked out so many clothes for you," Lin Yu reported excitedly while shoveling rice into her mouth. As soon as these words were out, Su Wanwan and Lin Shi glared at her simultaneously. Lin Shi scolded lightly. "Can't you even shut your mouth while eating?" Su Wanwan's cheeks flushed slightly, and she explained softly, "Big brother Wudi, we have too many points, and the living supplies are enough for us to use safely for 3 months. Lin Shi also nodded. "It's just a pity the refrigerator is too small. We can't buy many things that need refrigeration, otherwise we could have hoarded more." After you finish eating, remember not to get off the vehicle again." Wudi put away his smile, his tone serious. People should continue to arrive one after another. It probably won't be very peaceful outside tonight. Just as he finished speaking, Commander, a vehicle has been detected entering the parking lot. Xiaoxi, Wu Di ordered indifferently. No need to remind me when vehicles come in later. Notify me the first moment someone approaches the RV. Understood, Commander. Wu Di put down his bowl and chopsticks, got up and walked back to the driver's seat, closed his eyes to rest, and listened carefully to the outside. Lin Shi, Lin Yu, and Su Wanwan looked at each other, quieted down, and silently sped up their eating. Outside the window, the sky gradually darkened. Wu Di looked through the glass, and in just a short while, 7 or 8 vans had driven into the parking lot one after another. Facing monsters I can strike without hesitation, but facing these survivors who are the same as me, fellow countrymen, can I really do it? Wu Di had been thinking. When it comes to that point, don't blame me. Listening to the sounds coming from outside, Wu Di muttered in a low voice. Chapter 83, Direct Kill. Perhaps it was the cold, gleaming 30mm chain gun on top of the RV that was too intimidating. The survivors who arrived later all observed the RV from a distance, their eyes filled with curiosity and apprehension. Yet none dared to approach even half a step. Su Wanwan, Lin Shi, and Lin Yu had already cleared the dining table, and then the two of them were pulled into the void realm by Lin Yu. Unknowingly, the time reached 7:30 p.m., and another van appeared in the parking lot. As soon as the car stopped, the door was violently pushed open, and a man of about 30 jumped out. He was burly, wearing a black vest stained with dirt and blood. After getting out of the car, the man scanned the parking lot left and right, his gaze finally landing on Wu Di's RV, and his eyes instantly lit up. "Damn, good stuff. There's actually something like this," the man muttered, his voice filled with wild joy as he quickly walked towards the RV. "Is anyone inside?" The moment the man stepped towards the RV, Xiaoxi's alert sounded. "Commander, someone is approaching the RV, distance 10 meters. Wu Di leaned back in his seat, not even lifting an eyelid, and said calmly, "No hurry, let's see what he wants to do." No sooner had he spoken than a loud bang, bang, bang was heard. The man had already reached the RV door, stretched out his hand, and vigorously pounded on the door, with such force that it seemed he wanted to smash it. After pounding for a while, the door remained motionless, and no one responded. The man kicked the door fiercely, and seeing there was still no movement, he turned away disgruntledly and walked towards the supermarket. Xiaoxi, how many people are here now? Wu Di opened his eyes, his gaze sweeping through the vehicles in the parking lot through the window, and asked in a deep voice. "Commander, as of now, a total of 16 vehicles have entered, with 23 survivors in total, including 15 males and 8 females. Xiaoxi's voice responded promptly. Wu Di nodded slightly, saying nothing more. Time passed minute by minute. The parking lot was quiet, with only occasional scattered conversations coming from the direction of the supermarket. Everything seemed exceptionally calm. Just then, Wu Di noticed the man who had previously pounded on the RV door emerge from the supermarket, holding a silver Desert Eagle. He walked towards a van, inside which sat a young man who looked to be in his early 20s. "Little brother, how about teaming up with me? I saw you just exchanged a lot of supplies, and I have a gun. I can protect you." "But brother, no need. I can manage by myself." The young man seemed intimidated by the burly man's imposing presence. His speech was a bit slurred. His body trembled slightly, and he subconsciously shrunk deeper into his seat. "Kid, don't be ungrateful." The smile on the burly man's face vanished instantly, his tone turning menacing. "Either hand over your supplies obediently, and I'll protect you, or I'll use you to test my gun and see the power of this Desert Eagle." "But brother, I really don't have many supplies. Most of my points were used to reinforce my vehicle." The young man's eyes were filled with terror. A hint of ruthlessness flashed in the burly man's eyes. Without hesitation, he raised the Desert Eagle in his hand and fired several shots at the car window. Bang, bang, bang. The gunshots were crisp and loud, particularly jarring in the silent night. The car window instantly shattered, and the bullets accurately struck the young man's chest. He let out a muffled groan, his body went limp, and he slumped into the seat, eyes wide open. Seeing this, the burly man quickly pulled open the van door, moved all the meager supplies inside to his own van, muttering, "Damn, what a pauper, wasting my time." He then dismantled the vehicle and took the vehicle core. In the parking lot, the other survivors in their cars all locked their doors tightly and cowered inside. No one got out to stop him. The survivors inside the supermarket were also drawn by the gunshots and rushed out, gathering not far away, watching from a distance, their faces filled with fear and panic. But no one dared to step forward. After dismantling the vehicle, the burly man scanned the onlookers, and seeing everyone looking at him with fearful, dodging eyes, a smile played on his lips. His gaze slowly shifted, finally landing once again on the particularly eye-catching RV. Compared to the meager supplies just now, this RV was what he truly desired. Among the onlookers, scattered whispers also arose, their voices filled with fear and unease. "He actually dared to kill someone. Didn't the system say you can't attack in the safe zone?" A girl's voice trembled with fear as she clutched her companion's arm tightly. "It seems this parking lot isn't a safe zone. Only inside the supermarket is." A boy next to her whispered, his eyes full of apprehension. "Look, he's going back to the RV. Is he trying to steal that RV?" Someone pointed in the burly man's direction, their voice filled with surprise. "I should have exchanged for some weapons earlier. If he finishes stealing the RV, will it be our turn next?" Someone said regretfully, their face full of remorse. The burly man had already started walking towards the RV. "Damn, robbery is faster. If I get my hands on this RV, I'll hit the jackpot." The gun in his hand gave him enough courage. When the burly man was about 3 meters from the RV, the previously closed RV door suddenly opened. Wudai's figure appeared by the door, his expression calm, his right hand gripping the shadow pistol, its muzzle steadily aimed at the burly man's chest. The expression on the burly man's face instantly froze. His pupils contracted sharply, and he subconsciously tried to raise the Desert Eagle in his hand, but his movement was, after all, a step too slow. Bang! A gunshot rang out, and the bullet accurately struck the burly man's chest. Just like the young man earlier, he let out a muffled groan, replaced by an expression of incredible shock. His body went limp, and he fell straight down, the Desert Eagle in his hand dropping to the ground. He quickly stopped breathing. Wudai looked at the corpse on the ground, his eyes showing no fluctuation. He slowly retracted the shadow pistol, turned, and the vehicle door closed, isolating all the fear, whispers, and smell of blood from the outside. Inside the cabin, Wudi sat on the sofa, slowly closing his eyes. In his mind, however, the moment he fired the gun and the image of the scar-faced man falling kept replaying. This was the first time he had personally killed one of his own kind, not a monster, but a fellow survivor like himself. A strong sense of discomfort instantly surged into his heart, his throat tightened, his stomach churned, and his chest felt as if something was blocked, making him feel suffocated. His hands also trembled slightly, not out of fear, but because of an indescribable complex emotion. Chapter 84. Leaving no future troubles. A moment later, Wudi slowly opened his eyes. The confusion and complexity in his eyes had long since vanished, replaced by clarity and determination. He whispered to himself, "Perhaps this is the life I want." He then spoke in a deep voice to the central control screen. "Xiao Shi, open the door." "Received, Commander. The door has been opened." In the parking lot, the survivors who had just witnessed the entire slaughter scattered one after another after Wudi closed the door. Their expressions varied. Some hurried back to their own vans, locking the doors tightly to completely isolate themselves from the dangers outside. Others panicked and ran back to the supermarket, heading straight for the weapons area, just wanting to arm themselves as quickly as possible to gain a shred of self-protection. Just then, the door of the RV opened again, and Wudi stepped out. His expression was calm. His gaze swept over the corpse of the burly man on the ground, and after picking up the handgun, he walked straight toward the van that had belonged to the burly man. The watching survivors instantly held their breath, their eyes fixed tightly on his every move, their hearts involuntarily jumping to their throats. But Wu Dai's actions exceeded everyone's expectations. He did not go to rummage through the supplies in the van, nor did he even spare them a second glance. He simply dismantled the vehicle and took the vehicle core. It was not until the door of the RV closed again that the survivors in the parking lot breathed a sigh of relief, their hanging hearts finally settling down. Returning to the RV, Wu sat back down on the sofa. Xiaoxi, stay alert. Keep an eye on the movements of everyone in the parking lot at all times, as well as any changes in the surrounding environment. Notify me immediately if there is anything unusual. Received, Commander. He knew clearly in his heart that although the act of killing the burly man had intimidated some people, there would always be some who, for the sake of profit, were willing to take risks and disregard everything. The parking lot, which had originally had some signs of life, became completely deathly silent after the two slaughters by the burly man and Wu Di. Those survivors who had finished exchanging supplies all stayed obediently inside their vehicles. No one dared to get out at will, and even more people hid inside the supermarket, not daring to come out. The entire parking lot was terrifyingly quiet. Xiaoxi, are Lin Shi, and the other two still inside the Void Realm organizing supplies? Apologies, Commander. Due to the lack of corresponding monitoring equipment, I am unable to view the specific situation inside the Void Realm. All right, I will keep an eye on it. Wu Di nodded gently and did not ask further. The night deepened, and the time slowly arrived at around 11 o'clock. Lin Shi, Lin Yue, and Su Wanwan walked out of the Void Realm one after another, their faces showing some fatigue, yet unable to hide the excitement in their eyes. As soon as Lin Yu came out, she ran excitedly to Wu Di's side. Big brother Wu Di, this Void Realm is just too amazing. It has blue skies, white clouds, and soft soil inside. That feeling is just like returning to the real world. Do you think we could build a house inside so we don't have to cram into the RV in the future? Su Wanwan also walked over. Big brother Wu Di, why don't I take the night watch? You go and rest for a while. Lin Shi did not speak, just stood quietly to the side, her gaze falling on Wu Di. She could feel that Wu Di's aura seemed different from before. Wu Di shook his head, his tone calm but firm. No need, you go and rest. With Xiaoxi here, monitoring the outside in all directions, no one needs to keep watch. He paused, then added, You should also hurry up and rest to build up your spirit. We don't know what dangers will be waiting for us tomorrow, so we must be prepared at all times. Seeing that Wu Di's attitude was firm, the three did not try to persuade him further. They nodded and silently walked into the bedroom of the RV, and the cabin returned to silence once again. At 3:09 in the middle of the night, Xiaoxi's notification sound suddenly broke the silence of the late night. Commander, someone is approaching the RV. Position marked. Wu Di opened his eyes, not a trace of sleepiness in them. He whispered to himself, still unwilling to give up. Very well, this can be considered helping you find release. Not far outside the RV, 3 figures were sneaking closer, their bodies hunched low, footsteps light, fearing they would be discovered. Wu Di already knew 2 of them. They were the short, fat man from the previous group of 6, and the girl who had been eyeing the RV all along. Beside them was a man in his early 40s, medium build, with a vigilant expression. Little brother, are you sure about this? The man in his early 40s lowered his voice, his tone tinged with uncertainty. His gaze was fixed tightly on the door of the RV, his eyes full of wariness. The short, fat man shook the handgun in his hand and replied in a low voice. Brother Chen, don't worry. As long as you can use your talent to open the door, we can definitely take him out while he's sound asleep. No matter how powerful a person is, can they really withstand bullets? The man called Brother Chen frowned and said in a deep voice, Little brother, it's not that I don't trust you, but I'll state the ugly truth up front. After it's done, this RV belongs to me. After all, we are just in a cooperative relationship, and the benefits must be clearly divided. I don't want to take the risk and then put in the effort for nothing. The short, fat man nodded quickly. Don't worry, Brother Chen. The 2 of us just want revenge. This time we must make him pay the price. The RV, the supplies, everything, it's all yours. He was calculating in his heart that as long as he could kill Wu Di, and then find an opportunity to get rid of this brother Chen, the RV would ultimately still be his. But he also knew clearly that only by relying on this brother Chen's talent, metal mastery, was it possible to enter the RV silently. Just then, the short-haired girl suddenly lowered her voice and said excitedly, "Look, the door is opening." The short, fat man and brother Chen heard this and immediately looked up, but just as they raised their heads, they felt darkness before their eyes. Their field of vision instantly underwent a cataclysmic change, and their consciousness began to blur rapidly. Why can I see my own body? This was the last thought that flashed through the short, fat man's mind. Wu Dai stood to the side, holding the armor-piercing Tang saber in his hand. He looked down at the 3 decapitated corpses at his feet and murmured softly, "Wouldn't it have been better to just live properly?" Chapter 85, The Storm Arrives. Back in the RV, Wu Di leaned against the driver's seat and let out a soft sigh. He knew no one would disturb him now, and the night passed without incident. At 5 in the morning, Lin Shi, Lin Yue, and Su Wanwan emerged quietly from the bedroom. Seeing Wu Di resting with his eyes closed in the driver's seat, they instinctively softened their movements, silently agreeing not to disturb him as they began tidying the vehicle and preparing breakfast. In truth, Wu Di had woken the moment they opened the door, but he remained lying still, making no sound. Soon, breakfast was ready. Just as Lin Yu was about to step forward to wake him, Wu Di stood up and walked over. "Big brother Wu Di, you're awake. I was just about to call you for breakfast. We don't know what will happen after 6 o'clock. It's best to be prepared early." Beside them, Su Wanwan kept her head down, looking as if she had something to say but was holding back. "What's wrong?" Wu Di looked at her. Su Wanwan bit her lip, her voice tinged with guilt. "Big brother Wu Di, my talent treasure chest didn't appear yesterday. It seems because I stayed in the Void Realm the whole time. I wasted an opportunity." Wu Di was taken aback for a moment, having thought it was something serious. "That's all? Just be more careful next time." Yesterday, his entire focus had been on staying alert to the external situation. He hadn't given Su Wanwan's matter a single thought. Su Wanwan studied Wu Di's face for a few seconds, confirming he truly wasn't blaming her. Only then did the tension in her shoulders completely ease, and she let out a soft sigh of relief. The 3 women nodded, said nothing more, and quickly finished their breakfast in silence. Once everything was packed away, the time was 5:58. "Keep an eye on the communication channel at all times. If there's any news, report it immediately." "Yes!" The 3 of them nodded in unison. The next second, all-region announcement, a 7-day period of severe storms is about to begin. 1. Weather conditions will progressively worsen. Please evacuate from the black fog immediately. 2. The probability of obtaining special items and skill books from supply crates has been increased. 3. This phase will produce advanced vehicle upgrade blueprints and modification blueprints. Due to a first phase mortality rate exceeding 50%, the regional channel has been cancelled. All survivors will be randomly relocated. The moment they finished reading the announcement, a flash of white light filled the vision of all 4. When they opened their eyes again, their surroundings were no longer last night's parking lot. They found themselves on a wide road, surrounded by the desolate aura of a ruined civilization. Abandoned vehicles, bodies rusted and twisted, lined the roadside. In the distance, the faint outlines of tall buildings were visible, lifeless. Wu Dai rolled down the window and looked back. Sure enough, about 100 meters behind their vehicle, a wall of black fog connecting sky and earth was slowly, visibly creeping towards them. "Xiaoxi, proceed forward at 60. "Received, Commander." "Big brother Wu Di, didn't they say it would be a storm? Why is it so quiet?" Lin Yu, sitting in the passenger seat, couldn't help but ask. However, the moment the words left her mouth, a sparse, pattering rain began to fall outside the RV. "Big brother Wu Di, it really wasn't me being a jinx." Lin Yu hurriedly covered her mouth. "It's the first day. The situation probably won't be too severe yet," Wu Di said gravely. "Keep an eye on the situation in the communication channel, and also see if there are any suitable blueprints." But reality proved more extreme than Woody had imagined. Less than an hour into their journey, the light drizzle had transformed into a torrential downpour. Bean-sized raindrops hammered against the roof and windows with a loud pitter-patter, blurring the view ahead completely. "Commander, the radar function is affected by the rainfall. Current detectable range is 100 meters, Xiaoxi's clear, sweet voice chimed in. "Xiaoxi, run a check on how else the rainfall might affect the vehicle." Woody was already starting to worry. If the first day brought such a storm, what would the following 7 days be like? It was almost unimaginable. "Commander, due to weather factors, estimated maximum speed is 150 kilometers per hour. No other effects detected at this time." "Xiaoxi, maintain speed at 60. Report any changes immediately." "Received, Commander." Thankfully, the black fog behind us isn't spreading too fast. In weather like this, a skid or a rollover would be the end, Woody said, breathing a sigh of relief. Lin Yu wore a pained expression. "Big brother Woody, the weather changed way too fast. How are we supposed to go outside?" Woody asked, "What's the situation with others in the communication channel?" Su Wanwan frowned at her panel. "Big brother Woody, the communication channel is unusable. There are too many people, over 2 billion. It's all nonsense, but everyone's situation seems to be the same. They're all in heavy rain, too." Lin Yu immediately leaned her head over, excited. Yes, Big brother Woody. Lots of people are talking about us. Many who upgraded to a level 4 vehicle only have a little over 2,000 points. We have 34,610. And also, Big brother Woody, why are people in the communication channel saying many who upgraded to level 4 don't have RVs? Some who do have them are missing a lot of equipment and are having a really hard time. Hearing Lin Yu's words, Woody didn't reply. Instead, he immediately opened the vehicle leaderboard. First place, 30th, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 34,610. Second place, Lin Chen, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 2,330. Third place, 30th, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 2,320. Fourth place, XXX, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 2,310. Fifth place, XXX, vehicle level, 4, vehicle points, 2,300. Sixth place, 30th, vehicle level 4, vehicle points, 2,220. Seventh place, XXX, vehicle level 4, vehicle points, 2,210. Eighth place, Elena, vehicle level 4, vehicle points, 2,180. Ninth place, 30th, vehicle level 4, vehicle points, 2,050. 4, vehicle points, 2,020. Chapter 86. Farming. Why is everyone starting to hide their names? Woody looked at the string of XXX on the leaderboard and spoke subconsciously. Lin Yue leaned in front of the panel and chattered. "They are all discussing it. This survival game doesn't encourage teaming up at all. The more people there are, the greater the crisis. Many people gathered together, only to be separated immediately after teleporting. All for nothing." She suddenly looked up and blinked. "Oh, right. Big brother Woody, why are the 4 of us still together?" Lin Shi glanced at her helplessly. "Are you stupid? We have a team contract." Oh, I almost forgot, hey. Lin Yu scratched her head and smiled awkwardly. Su Wanwan couldn't help but chuckle as she watched her confused expression. The atmosphere inside the RV was rarely this relaxed amidst the continuous heavy rain. Just then, ding, received 10 points. A crisp notification made all 4 of them freeze simultaneously. Lin Yu looked up abruptly. "Big brother Woody, where did these points come from? We didn't open any supply crates, and we didn't trade for anything." Woody pondered for a moment and immediately spoke. "Xiaoxi, how far have we traveled in total?" "Commander, we just finished running 100 kilometers." Su Wanwan's eyes lit up. Running 100 kilometers gives 10 points. If there are points, there must be a place to exchange them. Maybe it's just ahead. Lin Shi also frowned as she analyzed. Big Brother Wu Di. The system said the probability of special items and skill books has increased in this stage. Could it be that the number of supply crates has decreased instead? That's possible. Wu Di nodded. Keep an eye on the movements of others in the channel, and tell me immediately if there's any news. He turned his head and ordered the central control screen. Xiao Shi, proceed at full speed under safe conditions. Understood, Commander. For the rest of the morning, the RV sped through the torrential rain. Apart from the received 10 points notification that popped up punctually every 100 kilometers, they didn't encounter a single supply crate or see any exchange point along the way. Outside the window, the heavy rain continued to pour down crazily, as if it would never stop. Lin Yu suddenly remembered something, and her eyes lit up. Big Brother Wu Di, do you think we can farm in the Void Realm? I saw a lot of seeds before. Can we grow fruits and vegetables in there? Lin Shi and Su Wanwan looked at each other, their faces showing signs of interest. Wu Di was stunned for a moment. That's right. Why didn't he think of that? Supplies are sufficient now, but they can't just sit around and eat through them. The Void Realm is such a large place they could be completely self-sufficient. Besides, farming is a tradition. He nodded immediately. You guys go try it. Xiao Shi cannot contact the inside of the Void Realm, so I need to stay outside to keep an eye on the situation. Lin Shi quickly said, Then Big Brother Wu Di, call us immediately if anything happens. Don't worry, Wu Di instructed. You can trade for more various seeds. We don't need fuel, so you can use it for trading. Don't hesitate. Hearing Wu Di say they didn't need fuel, the three of them didn't ask why. Lin Yue patted her chest. Big Brother Wu Di, don't worry, I'm the best at picking things. Immediately, the three of them entered the Void Realm. Wu Di sat alone in the driver's seat, continuing to ponder the possible variables that might appear in the second stage. Commander, there's an obstacle ahead. Please pay attention. Just as Xiao Shi's warning finished, Wu Di felt the vehicle body shake slightly. Under intelligent driving, the massive RV did not slow down and charged straight toward a pile of abandoned car wreckage ahead. Bang! The Titan armor-piercing battering ram at the front of the vehicle directly sent the twisted metal flying, and the RV drove past smoothly, with almost no jolts. Wu Di sighed slightly. I didn't expect this battering ram to come in handy so quickly. Time passed bit by bit. The three of them came out of the Void Realm, finished lunch, and went back in to get busy again. It was already 13:39 in the afternoon, just when Wu Di thought today might pass by so uneventfully. Commander, an unidentified object has appeared ahead. Should I slow down? Slow down. Wu Di immediately regained his focus. Understood, Commander. Do you need to reverse? Wu Di didn't answer. His gaze had already pierced through the rain curtain, clearly seeing the unidentified object that Xiao Shi mentioned. It was actually a supply point. It was just that the RV's speed was too fast, and due to the heavy rain, Xiao Shi's radar only had a detection range of 100 meters. By the time it was discovered, it was already too late to slow down. Chapter 87, Acquiring a Blueprint. The RV reversed slowly, coming to a steady stop next to the supply point. Wu Di stepped into the supply point instantly. Looking at the familiar design, he couldn't help but complain internally. Does it always have to be designed like a bus stop? Is it for the convenience of sheltering from the rain? In this kind of stormy weather, the curtain of rain was thick, and visibility was blurred. If Xiao Shi hadn't discovered it in time, Wu Di estimated that he wouldn't have noticed this supply point if he hadn't been paying close attention. Wu Di took a step forward, his gaze landing on the center of the supply point, where he found only a single exchange machine. Just as Su Wanwan said, where there are points, there will inevitably be a place to exchange them, he muttered to himself, tapping the machine's screen with his fingertip to browse the exchange list. After browsing carefully, Wu Di was somewhat surprised. Basic resources like food, metal, and rubber were no different from before, without any changes. However, in the blueprint column, There was only one item, seemingly tailored specifically by the system for this continuous downpour. Ground-locking anti-skid pattern design, green quality, vehicle-mounted item. Detachable anti-skid patches are added to the tire surface to deepen the anti-skid grooves, improving grip on slippery roads and shallow water areas. Compatible with original tires. Crafting requirements. Rubber X5. Exchange requirement, 100 points. Woody looked at his points panel. It was exactly 100 points. No more, no less. He thought to himself, does a supply point like this appear every 1,000 kilometers traveled? Although he couldn't confirm it for now, this anti-skid pattern blueprint was undoubtedly a necessity. The roads were slippery in the heavy rain, and the RV was fast. With this, the risk of skidding and flipping could be greatly reduced. Without any hesitation, Woody clicked to exchange and immediately returned to the RV. Xiaoxi, continue forward. Keep an eye out for similar supply points along the way and stop if you encounter one. Understood, Commander. The RV started up again, still speeding through the heavy rain at 150 kilometers per hour. The Titan armor-piercing ram at the front was invincible, easily smashing and crushing abandoned vehicle wreckage and roadblocks encountered along the way. Aside from the gain 10 points notification that popped up punctually every 100 kilometers, he didn't encounter any more supply points, nor did he find any traces of supply crates. There was only the endless torrential rain outside the window, drumming against the roof with a pitter-patter sound. Time passed slowly until 17 in the afternoon, when Lin Shi and Su Wanwan were the first to come out, their faces carrying a hint of fatigue but unable to hide the expectation in their eyes. Big Brother Woody, we planted a lot of vegetable seeds in the domain, but we don't know when they'll ripen, Lin Shi said softly, her tone carrying a hint of curiosity. However, we looked around and couldn't find any fruit tree seeds. It's not important, we aren't short on supplies. This can be considered giving ourselves something to look forward to. Woody didn't know if the seeds in this survival game were any different from those in reality. Su Wanwan took over the conversation. Big Brother Woody, Jixi and I will go cook, and while we're at it, we'll wait for the talent treasure chest to refresh. We missed it once yesterday, which was a huge loss. We can't miss it again today. With the two of them cooperating, dinner was soon ready. Lin Shi went to call Lin Yui, who was still organizing supplies, out to finish a simple meal. Afterward, they quickly tidied up. Before they knew it, the time had reached 6 p.m. Just then, a soft white light lit up on the coffee table of the RV, and a small treasure chest slowly emerged. It was precisely Su Wanwan's talent treasure chest. Looking at the treasure chest, Lin Shi sighed softly. Even though it's not the first time seeing the talent treasure chest refresh, I still find it quite incredible. Lin Yu leaned toward the coffee table, her face full of envy. Sister Wanwan, what kind of good stuff do you think you can open this time? Su Wanwan waved her hand somewhat bashfully. It's nothing much, the uses aren't that great. Before, I even used a blueprint from the treasure chest to exchange for a weapon with Big Brother Woody. That was also the time Big Brother Woody saved my life. Don't think too much about the past. Open it and see, Woody interrupted them. Su Wanwan nodded, took a deep breath, and opened the treasure chest. Subsequently, Su Wanwan showed the blueprint's attributes to the others. Rain curtain penetrating light design, green quality, vehicle-mounted item. Front and rear lights are modified into high-penetration light sources that can directly penetrate the thick rain curtains and mist formed by heavy rain, significantly improving the clarity of the forward field of vision. Energy consumption plus 5%. Crafting requirements: metal block X2, glass X2, plastic X1, electronic component X1. Chapter 88. Radar restored. Wu Di held the lock-ground, anti-slip pattern blueprint in his hand, his brow slightly furrowed, his mind filled with confusion. It had only just begun, yet all the blueprints the system provided were essential items for heavy rain conditions, with not a single unnecessary one. This deliberate targetedness made him feel increasingly uneasy. Was the current peace and comfort truly real? Just as Wu Di was lost in thought, his expression grave, Lin Shi's voice rang out, "Don't you find it strange?" During the first phase, the system warned us that the night was dangerous. But after arriving here, there was no mention of nighttime dangers today. Hearing Lin Shi's words, Su Wanwan's body stiffened slightly. It was unclear what she thought of, but her face instantly paled, a flicker of fear passing through her eyes. Lin Yu, noticing her strange expression, quickly squeezed next to Su Wanwan. She deliberately put on an annoying expression to change the subject. "Sister, now that you mention it, I just thought, if there are no more supply crates in the future, won't you be useless? What will we do then?" Seeing Lin Yu's deliberate act of playing dumb, Lin Shi instantly understood her intention. She was trying to help Su Wanwan out of an awkward situation. Suppressing the urge to smack Lin Yu's head, she shot her a helpless glance and didn't expose her. Wu Di was also awakened by Lin Shi's words and sank back into thought. Indeed, so far, all the danger warnings the system had given were out in the open, like gales and heavy rain, the spread of black fog. It had never hidden anything. Yet it specifically avoided mentioning the dangers of the night. This abnormal calm was even more unfathomable. Since the system hadn't prohibited it, did that mean they could continue moving at night? Besides, with Xiaoxi monitoring everything now, he didn't need to stay constantly tense watching the road conditions. Even if they truly encountered danger, he had enough confidence to handle it. Having figured this out, Wu Di looked up and said firmly, "Xiaoxi, maintain a speed of 100 and proceed." "Received, Commander." Hearing this, Lin Yu immediately leaned close to Lin Shi, blinking her big eyes. Sister Wanwan, do you want to keep Big Brother Wu Di company? It's so boring alone. With us around, it'll be more lively." Lin Shi and Su Wanwan also chimed in. "Yes, Big Brother Wu Di." "Not needed," Wu Di refused directly. "With Xiaoxi here, whether you accompany me or not makes no difference. Besides, there's no extra space next to the driver's seat for you." Lin Yu immediately raised her hand, looking eager. "Big Brother Wu Di, I'll accompany you. The passenger seat is my exclusive spot. I can chat with you too." "Oh, right. I can also boost your talent." Hearing this, Wu Di fell silent for a moment, then finally nodded. He did indeed need Lin Yu's talent boost today. Lin Yu immediately looked triumphantly at Lin Shi, raising her chin. "See, sister? I told you Big Brother Wu Di needs me. You two go rest. I'm enough here." Wu Di spoke helplessly. "Lin Yu is enough here. There's no place for you to stay anyway. Go inside and rest. Conserve your energy." Lin Shi and Su Wanwan exchanged a glance. Seeing Wu Di's resolute attitude, they didn't insist further and nodded. Wu Di gave a slight nod, turned, and sat back in the driver's seat. In his mind, he was already clear about where to use his talent today. He didn't have Lin Yu apply her talent immediately. Instead, he first placed the lock-ground anti-slip pattern blueprint and the rain curtain penetration lamp blueprint Su Wanwan had opened in front of him. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough activated, item promoted by 1 tier. Lock-ground anti-slip pattern blueprint, green quality, has been promoted to all-terrain grip tire tread module blueprint, blue quality. All-terrain grip tire tread module blueprint, blue quality. Vehicle-mounted item. Uses bionic deep groove mechanical structure, optimizes tire ground pressure distribution, significantly improves grip performance on wet, slippery, and waterlogged roads, suppresses skidding, wheel spin, and side slip, ensuring driving stability during heavy rain conditions. Crafting requirements, rubber timeston. Ding, all-terrain grip tire tread module crafting complete. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, activated, item promoted by 1 tier. Rain curtain penetration lamp blueprint, green quality, has been promoted to turbulence inhibiting light projector blueprint, blue quality. Turbulence inhibiting light projector blueprint, blue quality, vehicle mounted item. Optimized beam energy focusing structure, inhibits strong light scattering from chaotic rain curtain reflections, can penetrate heavy rain and thick fog. Significantly increases detection range. Features anti-glare and automatic brightness adjustment functions. Energy consumption plus 5%. Crafting requirements. Metal block ×2, glass ×2, plastic time zone, electronic component ×5. Ding, Turbulence-inhibiting light projector crafting complete. Seeing both green quality blueprints only promoted by one tier, Woody secretly breathed a sigh of relief. In the past, he always hoped to encounter the 5% probability for a 3-tier promotion at once. But now, he actually hoped for only a 1-tier promotion. After all, he still didn't know the source of a material like quantum essence. If promoted to purple quality without the materials to craft it, the blueprint would just be useless paper. He then turned to look at Lin Yu beside him, who wore an expectant expression. "Lin Yu, apply your talent to me." "Right away, Big Brother Woody." Lin Yu immediately perked up, took a deep breath, clasped her hands together and whispered, "Bless me with amazing luck next." "Okay, Big Brother Woody." Woody nodded and used his talent again. Ding talent, rule breakthrough activated. Item promoted by 1 tier. All-terrain grip tire tread module, blue quality, has been promoted to adaptive Loctine tire component, purple quality. Adaptive Loctine tire component, purple quality. Vehicle-mounted item. Equipped with high-density alloy ground lock spikes and all-terrain adaptive tread patterns. Can form a powerful bite on icy surfaces, steep slopes, and rapid-flow road surfaces, resisting typhoon side push and flood impact displacement, maintaining driving control and stability, even in extreme environments. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, activated. Item promoted by 1 tier. Turbulence-inhibiting light projector, blue quality, has been promoted to multispectrum penetration lighting unit, purple quality. Multispectrum penetration lighting unit, purple quality, vehicle-mounted item. Integrates dual-mode visible light and near-infrared. Can penetrate torrential rain, thick smoke, and water mist, providing clear imaging at night and during extreme weather, achieving all-weather detection in conjunction with radar. Chapter 89, Golden Coating. Woody took a deep breath and pulled out the final blueprint. Protective coating blueprint, blue quality, vehicle accessory. Can be applied to a vehicle's surface, increases defensive capabilities, resisting minor corrosion and impact. Crafting requirements, glass 5, rubber 5. This was the first blue-quality blueprint Su Wanwan had obtained since joining the team. Previously, because they already had the anti-corrosion stealth composite coating blueprint, he had planned to save it for trading resources. But now, facing the unknown dangers of the second phase, he hesitated no longer. Ding, protective coating crafting complete. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, activated. Item promoted by 2 tiers. Protective coating, blue quality, has been promoted to composite armor coating, gold quality. Composite armor coating, gold quality. Vehicle item. Once cured, simultaneously increases hardness and toughness, effectively resisting moderate impacts and physical strikes. Also enhances corrosion resistance, capable of withstanding prolonged erosion from floods, chemical waste liquids, and acidic rain. Good, good. Woody let out a long sigh of relief. I thought everything today would only get promoted by 1 tier. Install. Shashi, run a full check on all the newly added vehicle items. Received, Commander. Scanning now. Commander, current maximum speed can reach 160 kilometers per hour. Additionally, due to the influence of the multispectral penetration illumination unit, radar coverage area on the front and rear sides has reached 500 meters. Coverage on the sides of the vehicle body remains unchanged. 500 meters. Woody's eyes darkened slightly. At least this gives us a bit more reaction time. Lin Yu leaned over, blinking curiously. Big Brother Woody, did you install new vehicle items again? Woody didn't answer immediately. Instead, he directly opened the vehicle interface. Vehicle, level 4 vehicle. Maximum speed, 240 kilometers per hour. Vehicle accessories items. Lucky pendant. Gold, turbine pulse supercharged engine. Purple, composite bulletproof crystallized glass. Purple, heavy, armor core frame. Purple, heavy-duty explosion-proof off-road tire. Blue, vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor. Orange, smart constant temperature refrigerator. Purple, atmospheric water collection unit. Orange, superalloy fortress armor. Purple, vehicle-mounted full-domain scanning radar. Gold, 30mm chain autocannon. Orange, intelligent hub. Gold, Titan armor-piercing ram. Purple, adaptive tire lock tread component. Purple, multispectral penetration illumination unit. Purple, composite armor coating. Gold. That long list of gold and purple equipment was more than enough to be considered overwhelming within the entire survivor world. After looking it over, Wu Di finally turned to Lin Yu. "Are you really not going to get some rest?" As soon as the words left his mouth, Commander, detecting that radar function is affected by rainfall. Lateral detection range reduced to 50 meters. Rain intensity may be increasing. Due to the newly added illumination unit, travel speed is unaffected. Wu Di lifted his gaze to look out the window. Outside the RV, the scenery was almost completely invisible, obscured by a dense, violently pounding curtain of rain. The world was a chaotic, murky darkness. "In weather like this, can supply crates really still appear?" he murmured to himself. Lin Yu's small face paled slightly. She grabbed Wu Di's arm, her voice tinged with unease. "Big brother Wu Di will be okay, right? I saw people on the communication channel saying many vehicles are completely stuck now, with the heavy rain and roadblocks." Lin Yu bit her lip, her eyes slightly reddening. Her voice softened, shedding all its usual bounciness. "Big brother Wu Di, I... Looking at her now, Wu Di could roughly guess. A girl like this probably hadn't suffered much before coming here. After arriving, thanks to items and being reunited with her sister, and then meeting him, she had hardly experienced what true survival meant along the way. She clutched Wu Di's sleeve, her fingertips trembling slightly. "I'm so scared. I'm scared this heavy rain will wash the vehicle over. I'm scared we'll encounter monsters. I'm even more scared I'll never see my sister and Sister Wan again. I know I'm useless, always relying on others for protection." Wu Di listened quietly, his gaze resting on the rain curtain outside the window, his expression calm yet carrying strength. Only after Lin Yu finished did he speak slowly, his tone steady. "Your talent is very useful, and we are a team. Don't overthink it, and don't say things like that anymore." Lin Yu stared at Wu Di's serious expression, stunned for a long moment. She seemed to suddenly understand, nodding vigorously. I understand." Then her eyes brightened, as if remembering something. She leaned close to Wu Di and whispered, "Big brother Wu Di, how about you become my brother-in-law? Look, my sister is beautiful, gentle, and cooks so well." "Stop." Wu Di hurriedly cut her off, a touch of helplessness in his tone. "Keep talking, and you're going to the back to sleep." He understood clearly that in this precarious survival world, staying alive was the only thing that mattered. Matters of the heart were never something to consider at a time like this. "Oh," Lin Yu pouted, a look of grievance on her face as she lay back down in the passenger seat. She didn't speak again, only occasionally stealing glances at Wu Di before looking back at the rain outside the window, her expression gradually calming down. Chapter 90. Rainstorm Night Attack. The interior of the vehicle fell silent. Aside from the pitter-patter of the rain outside and the slight swaying as the Titan armor-piercing ram at the front occasionally smashed through the wreckage of abandoned vehicles, there was no other sound. Wu Di glanced up at the vehicle's clock, which showed 1940. Under Xiaoxi's intelligent control, the RV maintained a steady speed of 100 kilometers per hour. Despite the torrential rain and complex road conditions, the vehicle remained stable and safe. "Is it really just going to be like this today?" Wu Di muttered to himself, Lin Yu's words from earlier resurfacing in his mind. Other survivors would find it nearly impossible to move in this weather. Indeed, without the multispectral penetrating lighting unit, the all-domain scanning radar, and Xiaoxi's precise control, even I wouldn't be able to advance so smoothly on such a stormy night. No wonder the system didn't give a night danger warning. This environment itself has already trapped most survivors. Having figured this out, the doubts in Wu Di's heart mostly dissipated. He stopped dwelling on it and leaned back in the driver's seat to rest with his eyes closed, his ears keenly listening for any movement outside. Lin Yu rolled over in the passenger seat and gradually fell into a deep sleep, her breathing becoming steady as the unease on her face faded significantly. Time passed slowly amidst the silence and the sound of rain. Before they knew it, it was around 23. Wu Di opened his eyes and rubbed his temples. Looking at the still dark curtain of rain outside the windshield glass, he thought to himself, "It seems there really won't be any other dangers tonight." But just as he let his guard down, Xiaoxi's notification suddenly rang out. "Commander, a large number of unidentified small organisms have been detected approaching." Wu Di's spirit was instantly roused. Even Lin Yu, lying in the passenger seat, was startled awake by the notification. Rubbing her bleary eyes, she immediately looked at the center console screen. When she saw the dense, fast-moving red dots on it, she woke up completely, her face turning pale. "Big brother Wu Di, what are those things? They're so fast!" Wu Di's expression was grave as he stared intently at the red dots on the center console screen. He said in a deep voice, "They are indeed too fast. Keep in mind, our current speed is 100 kilometers per hour, and it's pouring rain outside. Anything that can catch up to the RV in such speed and environment is definitely not simple, and there are so many of them." He felt a pang of frustration. I must find a way to get surveillance equipment. Xiaoxi's radar function is too incomplete right now. It can only detect red dots but can't see what they are at all. This is too passive. As soon as he finished speaking, the red dots on the center console screen rapidly closed in. In an instant, they reached the RV and swarmed all over the vehicle, completely surrounding it. Suddenly, Lin Yue let out a scream, pointing her finger at the windshield glass, her voice trembling. "Big brother Wu Di, look!" Wu Di looked up at the windshield glass. He saw that it was gradually covered with creatures resembling wasps. They were about the size of a fist, grayish-black all over, with translucent membrane-like wings. Their abdomens were covered in fine fuzz, and sharp stingers could be faintly seen at their tails, exuding a lethal chill. Wu Di looked at the dense swarm of wasp monsters on the windshield glass, and then at the red dots that were still increasing on the center console screen. He couldn't help but curse under his breath. "Damn, how many of them are there? I'm afraid the entire exterior of the RV is covered." "Xiaoxi, do these things affect the RV?" Wu Di asked hurriedly, a hint of urgency in his tone. He wasn't afraid of these monsters, but he feared the RV getting damaged on a stormy night like this. If something happened to the RV, the four of them would be in a desperate situation. "Commander, the front and rear lighting systems are blocked by unidentified organisms, and the radar detection range has been reduced to 100 meters. Other vehicle accessories and driving functions remain unaffected," Xiaoxi reported calmly, providing a timely update. Wu Di breathed a long sigh of relief, his heart finally settling. Fortunately, the RV's components were strong enough, and there was no immediate danger. However, he also knew that this was not a long-term solution. Hearing Xiaoxi's words, Lin Yue also gradually calmed down, though she still looked worried. "Big brother Wu Di, did we attract these monsters because we're driving at night?" Wu Di nodded and said solemnly, "It's possible. As a team of 4, the crises we encounter are inherently greater than those of a solo survivor, let alone driving at night." "Then, Big brother Wu Di, what do we do now?" Lin Yue asked anxiously. Wu Di frowned in thought for a moment before making a decision. "Xiaoxi, slow down and come to a complete stop," Wu Di ordered, then added specifically, "Close the door immediately after I get out." "Understood, Commander." The RV slowed down and finally came to a steady stop by the side of the road. Wu Di stood up, gripped his armor-piercing Tang saber, took a deep breath, and opened the door. The moment the door opened, dozens of grayish-black wasp monsters immediately lunged toward it. Their buzzing was ear-piercing, and the cold glint of their stingers made it clear they intended to swarm into the cabin. With a slight flick of his wrist and a few swish sounds, the dozens of monsters that lunged were instantly sliced in half. Their corpses fell to the ground, becoming motionless. Almost simultaneously, Xiaoxi closed the door. Wu Di leaped out of the vehicle. The moment his feet touched the ground, the dense swarm of wasp monsters around him seemed provoked. They abandoned their siege of the RV, turned around and frantically lunged at Woody in a dark mass that blotted out the sky. Woody's expression remained unchanged. His feet were firmly planted on the waterlogged road as he swung his armor-piercing tang saber so fast it was airtight, forming a wall of cold blades. Grayish-black corpses continuously fell from the air, yet even more monsters lunged forward one after another. The heavy rain beat down on him, soaking his clothes, but it didn't affect his movements in the slightest. After an unknown amount of time, the last wasp monster was struck by his blade and fell to the ground, its life completely extinguished. The battle ended. Woody stood in place, panting slightly, his body covered in rainwater and monster fluids. He looked up at the RV and saw that the vehicle was intact, finally breathing a sigh of relief. Just then, all the monster corpses on the ground instantly vanished, leaving behind only a shimmering supply crate lying quietly in the puddle. Chapter 91. Lin Yu's Request. Woody bent down to pick up the supply crate from the puddle and returned to the RV. Lin Yu immediately rushed over, her eyes full of anxiety as she looked him up and down. "Big brother Woody, are you okay? Were you stung by those monsters?" Woody shook his head slightly, set the supply crate aside, and instructed the control screen. "Xiaoxi, stop for now. Don't go any further." Then he turned to Lin Yu and urged, "Keep an eye on the surroundings here. I'm going to go clean up." "Okay, big brother Woody, wait a moment." Lin Yu nodded quickly, turned and dashed into the realm. Not long after, she ran out holding a set of clean clothes. "Here, big brother Woody, these are the clothes sister picked out for you." Woody took the clothes, went into the RV's bathroom, quickly cleaned himself up, and changed. Once he was ready, Woody and Lin Yue sat on the sofa together, their eyes falling on the supply crate before them. Its distinct silver luster clearly marked it as a silver-grade supply crate. Resting her chin on her hand, Lin Yu asked curiously, "Big brother Woody, do you think from now on, supply crates will only drop by killing monsters?" Woody shook his head slightly. "I don't know." "Then are we still going forward?" Lin Yu asked again, a hint of uncertainty in her eyes. The bee swarm attack from earlier still left her with lingering fears. Woody was silent for a moment, his gaze becoming firm. "We keep going. Regardless of whether there are other ways to get supply crates, at least we can get them by killing monsters now. As long as we can get supplies and blueprints, there's no reason to stop." Having said that, he gave an order to the control screen. "Xiaoxi, continue forward. Maintain a speed of 100 kilometers per hour." "Received, Commander." Woody sat back in the driver's seat, and Lin Yue followed suit, lying quietly in the passenger seat. She didn't chatter anymore, only occasionally glancing at the curtain of rain outside the window, and then at Woody beside her, her expression gradually calming. Silence returned to the cabin. After a long silence, Lin Yu seemed to have made a major decision and spoke in a small voice. "Big brother Woody, can you teach me how to fight?" Woody turned his head in astonishment to look at Lin Yue, his eyes full of surprise. He hadn't expected this usually flighty, clingy girl to proactively ask to learn how to fight. Lin Yu's cheeks flushed under his gaze, and she quickly lowered her head, stammering in addition. "Big brother Woody, isn't this what you said before? That we should learn to fight and not always rely on others. And I also want to become a bit stronger. I don't want to keep holding everyone back." Seeing her serious expression, Woody slowly turned back, his gaze returning to the curtain of rain ahead. "I'll teach you, but now isn't the time. Get some rest." In fact, Woody had been considering this all along. He had prepared the firearms originally intending for the three of them to get familiar with thermal weapons first, mastering basic survival and resistance skills, but the current situation was completely unexpected. Besides that, he was also calculating that, if he had the chance, he would find a way to improve their physical attributes so they wouldn't be completely defenseless in a crisis. The current, daily physique growth of 1 point was simply too slow. Time ticked away, and the hands of the vehicle clock slowly turned until it finally reached 5 a.m. The bedroom door opened, and Lin Shi and Su Wanwan walked out one after another. As soon as the two stepped out of the bedroom, they saw Woody and Lin Yu fast asleep in the driver and passenger seats. They also spotted the silver glowing supply crate on the coffee table. Exchanging a look, they didn't go forward to disturb them, but as usual, they quietly walked into the kitchen and began preparing breakfast. Before long, breakfast was ready. Lin Shi walked softly toward the driver's seat, only to see that Wu Di had already stood up. "Big brother Wu Di, was everything okay last night?" Lin Shi asked in a low voice when she saw him stand up. At that moment, Lin Yu in the passenger seat also opened her eyes, looked around, and immediately perked up. "Sister, is it time to eat? I'm coming." She then got up to go wash. Wu Di shook his head. "Nothing much happened." The four of them sat around the dining table, eating breakfast quietly. During the meal, Lin Yu couldn't contain her excitement and chattered to Lin Shi and Su Wanwan, describing the scene from last night. She praised him with animated gestures. "You have no idea how incredible Big Brother Wu Di was last night. Those monsters were everywhere, and he just swung his blade and killed a huge swath of them at once without even blinking. It was so cool." Lin Shi and Su Wanwan listened intently, occasionally looking at Wu Di. Wu Di, however, remained calm. Breakfast was soon finished. Sitting in the driver's seat, Wu Di instructed the three of them, "Keep a close eye on the trading channel, especially for blueprints or special items and the like." Lin Shi, Lin Yue, and Su Wanwan all nodded in unison. Just then, Xiao Shi's notification sounded. "Commander, a supply point has been detected 500 meters ahead, decelerating to approach." Wu Di's gaze sharpened. He looked out the window and, through the curtain of rain, could vaguely see a familiar bus stop shape appearing in the distance. It was exactly the supply point they had encountered before. Chapter 92. Vehicle-Mounted Drone Reconnaissance Module. The RV slowed down gradually and came to a steady stop next to the supply point. Wu Di pushed open the door, got out, and walked toward the exchange machine in the center of the supply point. The exchange list was exactly the same as before, with only one item blueprint that was different. Emergency supplies dry storage bin, green quality, vehicle-mounted item. Adds a 1 cubic meter sealed dry storage bin inside the cabin with a built-in dehumidification module to keep the interior dry. Also features impact resistance. Installation requirements: Level 2 or higher vehicle, energy consumption plus 5%. Crafting requirements: metal block times 3, rubber time zone, plastic time zone, electronic component times 5. Exchange requirement: 100 points. Wu Di stared at this blueprint, his brow furrowed slightly as he fell into a dilemma. From a functional standpoint, this blueprint was almost entirely useless to him. The Void Realm was completely unaffected by external conditions. This dry storage bin was not only redundant, but would also take up the already limited space inside the cabin. Secondly, he wasn't sure what kind of effect this mediocre green blueprint would have after being enhanced, or if it could undergo a qualitative change. Moreover, after traveling continuously all night, he had only accumulated 190 points. Wu Di stood before the exchange machine, making no move for a long time. Inside the RV, Lin Yu peered out of the window and asked Lin Shi and the other curiously, "Sister, what do you think is wrong with Big Brother Wu Di?" Beside her, Su Wanwan looked alert, her gaze constantly scanning the surroundings while keeping a close eye on the central control screen. Seeing this, Lin Shi quickly ran from the RV to Wu Di's side and called out softly, "Big Brother Wu Di?" Wu Di turned sideways and pointed out the blueprint information on the exchange machine for Lin Shi to see. "Do you think this is useful to us?" Lin Shi looked at the blueprint carefully. After a moment of thought, she said, "Big Brother Wu Di, Sister Su and I checked the communication channel last night. Supply points appear randomly. If you're not sure, you can wait for the next supply point and see." After hearing this, Wu Di pondered for a moment and nodded, decisively giving up on the exchange. "All right, I'll listen to you." Shortly after, the two turned and returned to the RV. Wu Di sat back in the driver's seat and gave an order to the central control screen, "Xiao Shi, proceed at maximum speed." "Understood, Commander." Speed adjusted to the maximum of 160 kilometers per hour. The RV sped off again, smashing through the occasional abandoned vehicles along the way. Time passed bit by bit. From early morning to mid-morning, the journey was peaceful and uneventful. They encountered no monster attacks, nor did they find any more supply points. By 10 a.m., the cabin remained quiet, with only the slight sound of the vehicle moving. Just then, Su Wanwan, who had been looking through the trading channel with her head down, suddenly spoke up with a hint of uncertainty in her voice. "Big Brother Wudi, take a look at this. Should we trade for it?" Wudi, Lin Shi, and Lin Yu immediately leaned in. Their eyes fell on Su Wanwan's panel. When he saw the information on that blueprint, Wudi's eyes instantly lit up. It was exactly the monitoring type item he had been longing for. Vehicle-mounted drone reconnaissance module design plan, green quality, can deploy one basic reconnaissance drone with a cruising radius of 300 meters. Features real-time image transmission and basic rain and wind resistance. Capable of visual reconnaissance during the day, but cannot penetrate rain or fog. Usage increases energy consumption. Installation requirements: Level 2 or higher vehicle. Crafting requirements: metal block ×3, rubber ×1, plastic ×zone, glass ×zone, electronic component ×5. The moment he saw this blueprint, Wudi felt as if his wishes had come true. Just last night, he was frustrated that the radar function was incomplete, and he couldn't see the outside situation clearly. Now, he had come across a blueprint for a reconnaissance drone. It was like a charcoal fire in the snow, exactly what he needed. He suppressed the joy in his heart. What does the other party want in exchange? Su Wanwan quickly checked the other party's requirements. He wants 20 rifle magazines, 7.62mm caliber. Reply to him. Say our magazine reserves are also running low, and we'll trade 10 magazines for this blueprint. He knew very well that in this torrential rain, this reconnaissance drone blueprint was almost useless to other survivors, but it was a different story in his hands. Su Wanwan immediately sent the message according to Wudi's words. A few seconds later, a smile appeared on her face. Big Brother Wudi, the other party, agreed. Ask him again if this blueprint was exchanged at a supply point, or if it came from somewhere else. Su Wanwan nodded. After a moment, she said, Big Brother Wudi, he said he obtained this blueprint from a supply crate dropped after he was attacked by monsters while parked and killed them. Chapter 93, All-Domain Stealth Reconnaissance Aircraft. Lin Yu blinked her large eyes, her face full of confusion. There are monsters during the day, too. How come we haven't encountered any? Lin Shi frowned in thought. The person I just traded with encountered the monster when they stopped. Could it be that monster attacks are only triggered when the vehicle is parked? Wudi was also calculating this in his mind. If monsters were only encountered when parked, it was indeed a dilemma for him. Continuing forward allowed him to steadily gain points to exchange for blueprints, but stopping to kill monsters could yield supply crates directly, which might contain rare items. Just then, Su Wanwan said softly, I just asked the other party for details. He said the monster rushed out from the puddles on the roadside. It looked like a snake, but much thicker than a normal one, about 2 meters long, and very fast. After speaking, she looked up at Wudi. Wudi fell silent for a moment, his gaze falling on the vehicle-mounted drone reconnaissance module blueprint in his hand. Suddenly, his eyes lit up as an idea formed. I can completely make this reconnaissance module first, and then see how things go. If he had a reconnaissance drone to expand the search range, would that mean they could advance while discovering the monster's locations ahead of time? That way, they wouldn't delay point acquisition and could still kill monsters to get supply crates. This would resolve the dilemma. Thinking of this, Wudi immediately turned to look at Lin Yu. Lin Yu, give me a talent boost. Lin Yu was stunned for a moment, then reacted and nodded immediately. Oh, okay, Big Brother Wudi. Wudi no longer hesitated and began to use his talent. In the next second, the familiar system prompts sounded one after another. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, activated. Item promoted to Tier 1. Vehicle-mounted drone reconnaissance module blueprint, green quality, has been promoted to Multi-rotor tactical reconnaissance unit blueprint, blue quality. Multi-rotor tactical reconnaissance unit blueprint, blue quality, vehicle-mounted item, dual-rotor powered drone, cruise radius of 800 meters, supports night infrared imaging, enhanced wind and rain resistance, can fly stably in moderate rain and strong winds, can mark obstacles and moving targets. Usage will increase energy consumption. Installation requirement, Level 2 or higher vehicle. Production requirements, metal block 5, rubber 2, plastic 2, glass 2, electronic component 10. Ding, multi-rotor tactical reconnaissance unit production complete. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, activated. Item promoted to Tier 1. Multi-rotor tactical reconnaissance unit, blue quality, has been promoted to all-domain stealth reconnaissance aircraft. Purple quality. All-domain stealth reconnaissance aircraft, purple quality, vehicle-mounted item, can release one stealth drone. Cruise radius of 2,000 meters. Features radar stealth and low-noise characteristics. Equipped with a multispectral camera. Can perform reconnaissance through rain curtains, smoke, and darkness. Automatically marks dangers and supplies. Usage will increase energy consumption. Installation requirement, Level 2 or higher vehicle. Ding. Accessory installation successful. Looking at the final promoted attributes, Woody felt a hint of doubt in such heavy rain. Can this thing really fly out smoothly? Moreover, after the installation was complete, there was no obvious change inside the carriage, and the reconnaissance aircraft was nowhere to be seen. He immediately commanded through the center console screen, "Xiaoxi, I've installed a new vehicle-mounted item for you. Check if there are any changes to the vehicle and where the reconnaissance aircraft is." "Commander, all-domain stealth reconnaissance aircraft detected. Marking its location for you." Following Xiaoxi's voice, a 3D schematic of the RV popped up on the center console screen. In it, a small light point flickered at the top of the RV's bedroom, with the words, "Reconnaissance Aircraft Hatch" labeled next to it. The schematic clearly showed that the installation position was in the center of the bedroom ceiling, embedded within the vehicle's armor and perfectly integrated with the roof. Wu Di looked at the schematic, nodded, and asked again, "Xiaoxi, tell me the details of the reconnaissance aircraft." "Commander, the all-domain stealth reconnaissance aircraft comes with its own lifting platform. It has a wingspan diameter of 60 centimeters, folded dimensions of 30 centimeters times 30 centimeters times 12 centimeters, and weighs 3 kilograms. It is equipped with a dedicated sealed hatch, a cruise duration of 8 hours, a charging time of 10 minutes, a flight altitude limit of 1,000 meters, and a cruise radius of 2,000 meters. Xiaoxi, can it be released in this weather?" This was Wu Di's biggest concern. "Commander, based on the analysis of external conditions, the all-domain stealth reconnaissance aircraft does not meet flight conditions." Lin Yu's face immediately fell. "Ah, big brother Wu Di, then was it a waste to exchange for it?" Lin Shi directly tapped Lin Yu's forehead. "Are you really that silly? We can't stay in this heavy rain forever." "Sister, stop tapping my head. I'm already not that smart. You'll make me even stupider." Lin Yu clutched her head and scurried to Su Wanwan's side to hide. Su Wanwan looked at Wu Di with a serious expression. "Big brother Wu Di, no matter what decision you make, I believe in you." Wu Di also fell silent at this point. He had originally thought the reconnaissance aircraft could completely change their passive situation, but now it couldn't even take off, which meant no change at all. Just as he felt slightly disappointed, Xiaoxi's voice rang out again. "Commander, the multispectral camera on the all-domain stealth reconnaissance aircraft can be linked with the vehicle-mounted radar to restore the radar's reconnaissance range. It is recommended to keep the reconnaissance aircraft's sealed hatch open and use the optical components to assist in detection." Chapter 94. Dungeon Scroll. Lin Yu's eyes lit up. "Wow! So it has this use. I thought it was a waste of a trade, but I didn't expect it to work without even flying out. That's amazing." Xiaoxi, will keeping the airlock open continuously affect the vehicle? Wu Di's focus was still on the overall condition of the RV. Commander, it only consumes basic energy and does not affect the normal operation of the RV or its other components. Good. Then keep the airlock open. Monitor the surroundings and report any abnormalities immediately. Wu Di gave the order decisively, without the slightest hesitation. Understood, Commander. Time passed slowly, and before they knew it, it was past 11 a.m. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan had prepared lunch ahead of time. The four of them sat together and quickly finished their meal. Throughout the process, they still hadn't encountered any monsters or discovered any new abnormalities. Shortly after the meal, Xiaoxi's notification sounded. Commander, a supply point has been detected 1,000 meters ahead, decelerating to approach. The four of them were instantly drawn by Xiaoxi's words and looked ahead together. As the RV slowly approached and came to a steady stop, Wu Di got out as usual and walked toward the supply point. Like the previous 2 times, the exchange list was still filled with common daily necessities and basic materials, nothing new. However, when he looked at the blueprint section, he froze. This time, the blueprint was completely different from the previous vehicle item blueprints and appeared exceptionally strange. Dungeon Scroll, used to enter the special dungeon Raiders of the Lost Treasure. Binds to the team. Exit is impossible until the dungeon ends. The dungeon yields special items, skill books, and design plans. High mortality rate, non-tradable. Price, 50 points. After reading the introduction, Wu Di didn't hesitate for a second and bought it directly. Returning to the RV, Wu Di placed the dungeon scroll on the coffee table and instructed the central control screen. Xiaoxi, continue forward. Understood, Commander. The RV sped off again. Lin Yu was the first to lean over the coffee table, staring at the scroll and asking curiously, Big Brother Wu Di, are we going to use this dungeon scroll? What are skill books? Is it like in games where you can learn spells? Lin Shi and Su Wanwan didn't interject. They just watched Wu Di quietly, waiting for him to think and make a decision. At that moment, Lin Yu's eyes suddenly lit up and she pointed at her panel. Big Brother Wu Di, I see many people in the communication channel discussing this dungeon scroll. Wu Di's heart stirred, and he immediately opened the communication channel. Messages instantly flooded the screen, all discussing the dungeon scroll. Did anyone else encounter a supply point around 12 p.m.? There was only a dungeon scroll inside, nothing else. I found one. 50 points is so expensive, and the mortality rate is high. I don't dare buy it. I still need to exchange for fuel. I really can't bear to spend points on this. Don't hesitate, brothers. There are so many good things in the dungeon. It's worth a try, even if it's dangerous. Aren't you guys afraid of running into other people? Life is hard enough as it is, and now we have to watch out for others stealing supplies or stabbing us in the back. Wu Di quickly skimmed the messages. Seeing the dense Chinese characters on the screen, his first reaction was confusion. Why are they all fellow countrymen? Aren't all the people from Blue Star in the same channel? Big Brother Wu Di, many people were discussing this yesterday, Lin Shi explained softly from the side. In this survival game, it seems everyone sees the content in their own native language. Big Brother Wu Di, are we going to use this scroll? Seeing that Wu Di had finished reading the communication channel, Lin Yu hurried over and asked softly, her eyes filled with anticipation and a hint of trepidation. Su Wanwan gently took Lin Yu's hand and turned to look at Wu Di, her tone remaining firm. Big Brother Wu Di, I believe in you. Whether you decide to go in or not, I'll follow you. Lin Shi didn't speak. She just looked at Wu Di quietly, her eyes full of trust. Wu Di looked at the three of them, his tone leaving no room for doubt. We're going in. We're definitely going in. He actually had another thought. Could this dungeon scroll be enhanced with his talent? What would it look like after enhancement? But after thinking seriously for a moment, he set the idea aside. He had no idea what the situation inside the dungeon was like. If an unknown change occurred after enhancement, it might not be worth the risk. No longer hesitating, Wu Di picked up the dungeon scroll from the coffee table and tapped it with his fingertip. Use dungeon scroll. In the next second, a familiar white light instantly swept through the entire cabin, and everyone instinctively closed their eyes. They felt the sound of rain and the vehicle's movement vanish instantly. As the white light faded and Wu Di regained his vision, the first thing he saw was a magnificent yet oppressive grand hall. Above was a towering dome carved with intricate golden patterns that emitted a faint luster. The floor was made of massive, polished stone slabs, with a faint golden shimmer seeping from the cracks. There was no obvious light source in the entire space, yet a soft glow illuminated the hall. The space was about 50 meters wide. Ahead, rows of stone statues were neatly arranged. Each statue was tall and burly, holding giant axes or spears and shields, with stiff facial expressions and hollow eyes. Just then, the system interface popped up. Ding! You have entered Raiders of the Lost Treasure, Ancient Ruins, Mechanism Fortress. Ding! Number of participants this time, 2,384. Chapter 95, Direct Shelling. Wu Di's gaze quickly swept over the surroundings, and he noticed that there were about a dozen vehicles parked in the entire hall. Besides the common vans and RVs like theirs, there were also several SUVs. Wu Di frowned slightly. The system said there were 2,384 participants this time, so why are there so few people? Could there be other entrances, and everyone else entered from different places? However, after these people entered, not a single one dared to get out of their car. They all parked steadily in place with their windows tightly shut. Clearly, like them, they were all warily observing the surrounding environment, not daring to act rashly. Lin Shi looked outside and asked softly, "Big Brother Wu Di, what should we do? Just staying parked here isn't a solution either." Wu Di looked at those vehicles. "Let's observe the situation first. We're in no hurry." A moment later, a door of a RV finally opened, and a tall, blue-eyed, blond man of a different race stepped out. He was wearing a black combat uniform with a pistol tucked into his waist. After getting out, he stood in front of his vehicle and shouted several sentences to the surroundings. "Everyone, my name is Johnson, and my vehicle is ranked 8642nd. The situation ahead is unclear. How about we explore together for the time being? Everyone can get out of their cars to discuss it together. I guarantee that no one will get hurt." Lin Yui clung to the car window and said with a face full of surprise, "Wow, this foreigner's Chinese is too good, even more standard than mine." Lin Shi frowned. "Is it possible that it's the system's built-in real-time translation? Just like the communication channel, no matter what language is spoken, it's automatically converted into a mother tongue one can understand." Wu Di nodded slightly, agreeing with this guess in his heart. It was highly likely the effect of the system's translation, allowing survivors from different regions to communicate normally. Su Wanwan looked at that Johnson with a wary gaze. "Big Brother Wu Di, should we go out and join them?" "No need. Keep watching to see what they plan to do." He knew clearly in his heart that most of these unfamiliar survivors were a motley crew with no cohesion. Not only would they be unable to help, but they might even hold him back or stab him in the back. Following Johnson's shouts, survivors began to emerge from their respective vehicles one after another, all holding weapons, and a few were holding pistols. Finally, these people gathered together, 16 in total, huddling and talking in low voices. A moment later, Johnson turned around and walked toward Wu Di's RV. He stopped at a distance and shouted loudly, "Brothers inside, can you hear me? Where are you from? Do you want to team up with us to explore? There's strength in numbers. Acting alone is too dangerous." Lin Yu, Lin Shi, and Su Wanwan all immediately looked at Wu Di, waiting for him to make a decision. Wu Di didn't respond at all. His face was expressionless as he looked at the central control screen and gave a cold order. "Xiao Shi, lock the autocannon onto him and fire a shot directly." "What?" The three of them were immediately shocked and looked at Wu Di, their eyes filled with disbelief. Lin Yu opened her mouth to say something, but was quietly pulled back by Lin Shi, who shook her head at her, signaling her not to speak. "Received, Commander." The next second, there was a loud boom. The autocannon on top of the RV instantly spat fire, and a shell landed precisely where Johnson was standing. The violent explosion kicked up a cloud of dust, When the dust cleared, nothing was left in its place except a shallow pit. At this moment, all the survivors on the small square were shocked by this sudden loud noise. They all looked at the muzzle of Woody's RV, then at the shallow pit, their faces filled with fear and disbelief. Only then did Woody speak. They were just discussing making those of us who didn't get out of our cars go ahead to scout the way and serve as their cannon fodder. Having said that, he once again instructed the central control screen, "Xiaoxi, lock onto those 15 survivors ahead and wait for my command. I'm going out for a bit. You guys stay in the car." "Received, Commander. All targets locked." Woody nodded, gripped the shadow pistol in his hand, pushed the door open, and stepped out, instantly attracting the attention of the entire field. Standing by the car door, Woody's gaze swept over the 15 survivors in the center of the square. His voice wasn't loud, but it clearly reached everyone's ears. "All of you charge forward for me. No nonsense, move faster. If anyone dares to act up or refuse, I'll give them a shell just like that person earlier." As soon as he finished speaking among the 15 people, a black-skinned survivor couldn't help but speak up. "Hey, brother, we mean no harm. What's the meaning of this?" However, as soon as he finished speaking, there was a bang of a gunshot. Wu Dai raised his hand without hesitation, and the shadow pistol accurately hit his chest. The black-skinned survivor groaned and fell straight to the ground. His breathing stopped. Wu Dai withdrew his pistol, his eyes showing no fluctuation. "Does anyone else have an objection? I'll give you 30 seconds. Either go scout the way or end up like him. In 30 seconds, if there's no movement, I'll fire the cannon directly." The remaining 14 people were completely panicked. They never expected Woody to be so ruthless, shooting to kill without even asking a question. Hearing Woody's warning now, some were still hesitating, while others were scared out of their wits and immediately turned around, running back to their vehicles like crazy. Woody watched their reaction without stopping them or firing again. He simply turned around and returned to the RV. "Xiaoxi, in 30 seconds, blow up anyone among those 14 people who hasn't charged forward." Woody sat in the driver's seat, his tone devoid of any emotion. "Received, Commander. Targets locked. Countdown starting." Su Wanwan, Lin Shi, and Lin Yu stood aside, not even daring to breathe loudly. Chapter 96, Metal Giant. At this moment, on the small square, the survivors who had kept their vehicle doors tightly shut and hadn't gotten out sat in their vehicles. Looking through the windows, their faces were filled with shock at the scene before them. Their hearts pounded wildly, and even their breathing became rapid. Inside one of the SUVs sat 2 men in their early 40s, both with deathly pale faces. The man in the driver's seat spoke with terror he couldn't hide. "Holy crap, did you see that? Did you see that? That was a real cannon bombardment?" The man in the passenger seat swallowed hard, his eyes vacant and his voice trembling. "I'm not fucking blind. Did you hear what he just said?" The driver's brow furrowed tightly, his face full of panic. "He told those people just now to charge forward and scout the way. What about us? Do we have to charge forward too? Didn't you hear him?" The passenger shook his head quickly, his tone carrying a hint of wishful thinking. "He told the group that got out of their cars to charge. We didn't get out, so we shouldn't have to, right? But if we stay still, will he get impatient and give us a blast too?" The driver's voice grew increasingly frantic as his eyes remained glued to Wu Di's RV nearby, terrified that the cannon would be aimed at them the next second. However, just as he finished speaking, the sudden sound of consecutive cannon fire, boom, 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 rang out, making the car windows buzz and vibrate. The 2 men instantly froze and jerked their heads to look outside. In the center of the square, 4 or 5 fireballs exploded in succession amidst billowing smoke. Those survivors who had hesitated and failed to scout the path were instantly swallowed by the shells along with their vehicles. Inside the remaining vehicles, the survivors were scared out of their wits, no longer daring to hesitate. They started their engines like madmen and charged toward the depths of the hall. Even so, 3 slower vehicles were hit by subsequent shells, exploding instantly and turning into piles of wreckage. Holy shit, this is too ruthless." The driver was so terrified he was incoherent, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. The passenger was also dumbstruck. The two exchanged a look, both seeing extreme shock and fear in each other's eyes, unable to say a word for a long time. "Lao Lin, he probably won't blast us, right?" the passenger asked with a trembling voice. "But probably not." Lao Lin wasn't sure either. His tone was vague as he scanned the surroundings frantically. "We didn't get out, and we didn't resist, so it should be fine, right?" "Then what do we do? Just stay parked here?" "I don't know either, I'm so lost." Lao Lin gave a bitter laugh. It wasn't just these two. All the survivors in the remaining 6 vehicles on the small square stayed where they were, watching everything in shock. None of them dared to breathe heavily, and no one dared to move, for fear of attracting Wudi's attention. Meanwhile, inside Wudi's RV, Su Wanwan, Lin Shi, and Lin Yue still stood frozen in place, their faces pale and their eyes still reflecting the shock of the recent bombardment. The consecutive explosions and the images of the destroyed vehicles were deeply etched into their minds. None of them dared to speak a word. Wudai sat in the driver's seat, watching the remaining 5 vehicles charge frantically into the depths of the corridor. Just as these vehicles entered the corridor and passed the array of stone statues, a sudden change occurred. The originally motionless stone statues suddenly made a clack-clack sound. Their stiff bodies began to move slowly, and a strange red light lit up in their hollow eyes. They raised their giant axes and spears, swinging them violently at the speeding vehicles. Bang! A van couldn't dodge in time and was struck hard on the roof by a stone statue's giant axe. A huge crack was instantly cleaved into the roof, and the vehicle lost its balance, flipping onto the ground. Another vehicle tried to accelerate through but was caught in a pincer attack by statues on both sides. Spears pierced the chassis and axes shattered the wheels. The vehicle was instantly disabled and surrounded by statues, as the screams from within gradually faded away. The remaining 3 vehicles accelerated with all their might, trying to escape the attack. One SUV, relying on its agile handling and extreme speed, managed to dodge several attacks from the statues and sped all the way toward the end of the corridor. The other 2 vehicles ultimately failed to evade and were destroyed one after another, turning into wreckage. In the end, only that SUV reached the end of the corridor through sheer speed, coming to a sudden stop with a thud as it hit something. As the SUV stopped, the stone statues that had been attacking frantically seemed to lose their target. Their movements gradually stiffened, and they returned to their motionless state. The red light faded from their hollow eyes, leaving them lifeless once more. Wudi looked at the screen on the center console. Just stone statues? I was worried there would be some powerful traps. Having said that, he gave an order to the console. "Xiao Shi, full speed ahead. Stop next to that SUV up front. Use the autocannon to blast away any stone statues that get in the way." "Understood, Commander." As soon as the words fell, the RV started up and accelerated forward with a surge. The 30mm autocannon on the roof immediately opened fire. Any stone statue that blocked the path or got close was blown to bits by the shells, sending stone fragments flying. In just 10 seconds, the RV reached the end and parked steadily next to the SUV. The few remaining scattered stone statues, having lost their target, also ceased their actions and returned to their original state. Back on the small square, Lao Lin and his companion in the SUV watched Wudi's RV disappear at the end of the corridor and finally breathed a sigh of relief. The companion asked tentatively, "Lao Lin, he's gone. Should we follow? Maybe there really is something up ahead." Lao Lin glared at him fiercely. "Follow my ass. Do you want to die? If he has a sudden change of heart and turns around to give us a blast, we won't even know how we died." The survivors in the remaining vehicles shared the same thought. Not a single person dared to step forward, even though the stone statue array was now basically no longer a threat. Wudi pushed open the door and walked to the SUV that had made it through. He tapped on the window and found that the survivor inside had fainted due to the violent impact, though the vehicle itself was intact. Seeing this, Wudi didn't bother further and turned to examine the scene before him. From a distance, the end of the corridor had looked like a thick wall, But looking closely now, he realized it wasn't a wall at all, but a semi-transparent light curtain. The curtain emitted a faint golden shimmer, and through it, a massive circular hall could be clearly seen. In the center of the hall stood a towering black throne, its entire surface carved with intricate golden patterns. Seated upon the throne was a 3-meter-tall metal giant. The giant was dark silver all over, covered in fine patterns, with eyes like 2 dark red crystals and hands resting on the armrests of the throne. Chapter 97. Ancient War Construct. After saying these words, Wu Di didn't look at Lin Yue and Lin Shi again. He walked straight to the driver's seat and sat down, resting his hands on the steering wheel as he waited quietly. He knew in his heart that when they were in the safe zone, the three of them had never truly seen the sinister nature of the human heart. They had always lived in a relatively stable environment. But some things cannot be avoided and must be faced. A deathly silence fell over the RV. Lin Yue and Lin Shi stood frozen in place, their faces full of confusion. Wu Di's words and the image of Su Wanwan firing the gun echoed repeatedly in their minds, leaving them momentarily speechless. A moment later, Lin Shi pulled Lin Yue over to the sofa, and together they softly comforted Su Wanwan, who was still somewhat dazed. Time passed slowly in such a silent and oppressive environment. Every minute and every second felt exceptionally long. It wasn't until an hour later that the light curtain originally blocking the end of the path instantly vanished, revealing a vast, empty circular hall. Wu Di immediately instructed the center console screen. Xiao Shi, send the drone in. Fly high and pay close attention to that metal giant. Understood, Commander. The drone has been activated and is entering the hall. Hearing Wu Di's words, Su Wanwan, Lin Shi, and Lin Yu seemed to snap out of their emotions. They all gathered around the center console, their eyes fixed on the screen with expressions of tension and curiosity. Lin Shi and Su Wanwan stood side by side. Lin Yu walked quickly to the passenger seat and sat down, turning to look at Wu Di with a serious and determined tone. Big brother Wu Di, my sister and I can do this too. We won't be a burden. We can also learn to protect ourselves and everyone else. Wu Di glanced at her and nodded slightly. We'll talk about that later. First, let's see the situation in the hall. Just as he finished speaking, the center console screen transmitted real-time footage from the drone. In the circular hall, vehicles were driving in from different directions, one after another. Soon, nearly 200 vehicles had gathered, parked densely around the edges of the hall, wary of each other and keeping their distance. Even with so many people, the massive hall still appeared empty and desolate. Wu Di stared toward the throne. Xiao Shi, pilot the drone closer and focus on that metal giant. Understood, Commander. The drone is approaching the target. However, in the next second, a sudden change occurred. The metal giant seemed to sense the drone's prying eyes. Its originally dim crystal eyes suddenly blazed with a crimson light. Without any warning, a launch port quietly popped out from one side of the giant's shoulder, and a missile whistled out, heading straight for the drone. On the center console screen, the missile grew rapidly in size. Before anyone could even cry out, there was a flash of white light and the image vanished. What the hell? I just got that drone and it's already blown up. Before Wu Di could even process the loss, a low, raspy voice with a metallic grinding sound echoed throughout the hall. Intruders, desecrators of the throne. Crush. Almost at the same second, system notifications popped up before everyone's eyes. Ding. The ancient war construct has awakened. Ding. Objective. Kill all intruders. Ding rule. Kill or flee. The dungeon will automatically close in 5 minutes. It ends after fleeing for 5 minutes. Wu Di's heart sank. Is the system implying we can't defeat this thing at all? Just as the thought arose, the scene before him spiraled completely out of control. The metal giant, which had been sitting on the throne and appeared only 3 meters tall, slowly stood up. Its body surged in size until it was nearly 6 meters tall, like a mobile mountain of steel. The next moment, it didn't hesitate, suddenly accelerating and charging toward the cluster of survivors at the edge of the hall. Boom! A giant palm descended, instantly flattening a van into a metal pancake. The vehicle's body shattered, Metal fragments flew everywhere, and the people inside were completely annihilated before they could even scream. A nearby SUV tried to flee, but the giant struck the roof with a backhand punch, twisting and denting the entire frame. It was then kicked flying, slamming violently against the stone wall of the hall and exploding with a roar. The survivors completely broke down, starting their vehicles like madmen to flee in all directions. But in the face of the 6-meter-tall ancient war construct, all attempts to escape seemed futile. The missile ports on its shoulders fired continuously, flames flickering as missiles chased down the fleeing vehicles. With every explosion, another vehicle was turned into a fireball. In just a dozen seconds, over 40 vehicles were reduced to wreckage. Screams, explosions, and the sound of twisting metal blended together. They couldn't even put up a decent resistance. Woody watched the flames and roaring outside, completely stunned. He was silent for a few seconds before whispering an unbelievable sentence. "Is this thing really something we can contend with at this stage?" Chapter 98. And just like that, it's over. Lin Yu, Lin Shi, and Su Wanwan had long since turned pale with fright, staring blankly at the tragic scene outside the vehicle. Flames soared into the sky. Wreckage was everywhere, and screams rose and fell. Every move of the ancient war construct was accompanied by destruction. Lin Yue was the first to react. Her voice trembling, she grabbed Big Brother Wudi's arm and said urgently, "Big Brother Wudi, let's retreat quickly too." Su Wanwan and Lin Shi also nodded in succession. Wudi did not move, however. His brows were tightly furrowed, and his eyes were fixed on the ancient war construct inside the hall as he muttered to himself. "It shouldn't be. Since the system opened this dungeon, it's impossible for a monster to appear that can't be dealt with. There must be a flaw." From the moment he arrived in this survival world, Wudi had gradually figured out the rules of the game. Though this world was cruel, it would never deliberately drive everyone to extinction. He took a deep breath, forced himself to calm down, and his gaze quickly swept across the entire hall, trying to find a breakthrough. "There must be a solution," Wudi spoke again, his tone firm, as if he were encouraging himself as much as reassuring the three people beside him. But in this hall, besides this ancient war construct, there are only those vehicle wrecks and the throne in the center. The moment his voice trailed off, Wudi's eyes suddenly lit up as if he had thought of something. He shouted urgently, "That's it, the throne! That metal giant has been sitting on the throne. Maybe the throne is its weakness, the core that controls it." Without the slightest hesitation, Wudi immediately commanded through the control screen, "Xiaoxi, aim at the throne ahead and fire armor-piercing shells." "Received, Commander. Armor-piercing shells have locked onto the target, preparing to fire." The next second, the autocannon on the roof of the RV let out a thunderous boom. An armor-piercing shell, accompanied by the whistling of the wind, accurately hit the black throne in the center of the hall. With a rumble, the throne was instantly shattered by the shell. Rubble flew everywhere, and the golden patterns originally carved on the throne instantly dimmed and completely disappeared. Following that, everyone clearly saw that the ancient war construct, which had been chasing the survivors at high speed, suddenly seemed to have its power drained. Its movements abruptly stalled, its speed plummeted, and its originally smooth, dark silver metal body and the fine energy patterns on its surface were instantly covered in cracks. "As I thought, the throne was its weakness," Wudi immediately ordered. "Xiaoxi, armor-piercing shells, aim at the ancient war construct and fire them all." "Received, Commander. The remaining 47 armor-piercing shells have all locked onto the target. Firing!" As soon as the words fell, continuous sounds of shelling rang out. Boom, boom, boom. One armor-piercing shell after another accurately hit the body of the ancient war construct. The survivors, who were originally fleeing in all directions, saw the explosion and the abnormality of the ancient war construct and ran even faster, fearing they would be caught in the crossfire. In just a few dozen seconds, only vehicle wreckage, balls of burning fire, and the ancient war construct enveloped in shellfire remained in the entire hall. Not a single living survivor could be seen. Flames filled the sky and dust billowed, obscuring the view of the entire hall. Before the flames could dissipate, the system interface popped up. Ding! Ancient war construct has died. Dungeon cleared. Teleportation is about to begin. The system prompt had just popped up before Woody could even react. The sound of explosions in his ears vanished instantly, replaced by the familiar sound of rain. Woody suddenly snapped back to his senses. The heavy rain outside the vehicle was still continuous, and the cold rain hit the car window with a patter-patter sound. The surroundings were still the familiar rainy highway. The circular hall and the metal giant from just now seemed like a mere hallucination. "It's over just like that." Woody looked bewildered, his tone full of incomprehension and frustration. "What about the items? The blueprints? The dungeon rewards? And all those destroyed ownerless vehicles in the hall? I didn't even have time to disassemble them before they were just gone." The more he thought about it, the more frustrated he became. Although he didn't care about other resources from those destroyed vehicles, the vehicle cores obtained from disassembling them were scarce. Lin Yu, Lin Shi, and Su Wanwan were also in a daze, their eyes vacant, failing to recover for a long time. From the moment the ancient war construct woke up to Wu Dai, discovering its weakness and defeating it, and then being teleported back, only about 3 minutes had passed. Everything had happened too fast for them to react. Lin Yu scratched her head and asked blankly, "Big Brother Wu Di, that powerful robot just died like that. We cleared it just like that." Just then the system prompt popped up again, finally making Wu Di and the 3 others fully realize what had happened. Ding! Raiders of the Lost Ark Dungeon has been cleared. Ding! Detected that player Wu Di's team accounted for 100% of the damage to the ancient war construct. Obtained 100% completion treasure chest X1. Ding! Completion treasure chest has been stored in space. Woody froze for a moment, and then the frustration on his face gradually dissipated, replaced by a hint of anticipation. It turned out the rewards were at the end. A 100% completion treasure chest likely wouldn't have bad rewards inside, which could be considered compensation for the loss of not disassembling the vehicles just now. Chapter 99. This harvest is abnormal. Wu Di leaned back in the driver's seat and let out a long sigh of relief, his tense nerves finally relaxing. Just then, Lin Shi said softly, "Big Brother Wu Di, look at the time." Wu Di paused for a moment and looked down at the screen. "What's wrong?" Su Wanwan leaned forward and reminded him gently, "Big Brother Wu Di, we were in the dungeon for about 2 hours, but now it's still just past 12. Su Wanwan's words made Wu Di realize immediately. The time they entered the dungeon was right around 12. Calculating it this way, the passage of time inside the dungeon was completely different from the outside world. Could it be that the time inside the dungeon is unrelated to the outside world? Like an independent space-time? After thinking for a moment, Wu Di shook his head. "Forget it. These aren't things we can consider right now." Having said that, he instructed the central control screen, "Xiaoxi, continue forward." "Received, Commander. We will continue to maintain a speed of 160 kilometers per hour. I will keep an eye out for any surrounding anomalies throughout the journey." Wu Di turned to look at Lin Shi, his tone softening a bit. "Take Su Wanwan to rest for a while." He could see that although Su Wanwan appeared calm on the surface, she hadn't completely moved past the shadow of killing someone with her own hands and needed time to adjust. Su Wanwan quickly shook her head and forced a smile. "Big Brother Wu Di, I'm fine. No need to rest." Lin Shi understood the look in Wu Di's eyes and knew Su Wanwan was just pushing through. She quickly took her hand and said softly, "Sister Su, come with me to check on the vegetables planted in the realm. Let's tend to them and get some fresh air while we're at it." Lin Yu immediately raised her hand and said with a serious face, "Sisters, go ahead. Big Brother Wu Di and I will stand guard here. Don't worry. I'll keep a good watch." Lin Shi and Su Wanwan exchanged a look, nodded, and turned to walk into the realm entrance. Once the two left, the RV instantly became quiet, leaving only the pitter-patter of rain against the windows and the low hum of the RV's engine. Lin Yu hesitated for a moment and asked in a small voice, "Big Brother Wu Di, Is Sister Wanwan really okay? Woody cast his gaze toward the curtain of rain outside the window, his expression calm. It's hard to say. Whether she can move past it depends on whether she can adjust herself. But in this world, this is a path everyone must take. Lin Yu lowered her head, her fingers gently twisting the hem of her clothes, her voice even lower. Big Brother Wu Di, then. Will I have to be like Sister Wanwan? I'm a little scared, but I don't want to hold you guys back. Wu Di didn't answer immediately. He just quietly watched the continuous heavy rain outside. After a long while, he finally spoke, his tone heavy yet firm. That day will eventually come. I don't want you to go through these things, but I want even more for you to have the ability to protect yourselves when danger arrives. After he finished speaking, neither of them spoke again, and the RV fell into silence once more. Time passed bit by bit. The heavy rain still hadn't ceased as the RV sped through the curtain of rain, encountering no monsters or survivors. It wasn't until around 17 in the afternoon that Lin Shi and Su Wanwan emerged from the realm. Hearing the movement, Wu Di immediately turned back to look. Su Wanwan's face no longer held its previous confusion and gloom. Her eyes had become much clearer. Although there was still a hint of fatigue, her state was much better. Seeing Wu Di looking over, Su Wanwan took the initiative to give a slight smile. Big Brother Wu Di, you don't need to worry about me. I'm fine now. Lin Shi also stepped forward. Big Brother Wu Di, Sister Su really is much better. We're going to cook dinner. If you're tired, just call me. Wu Di nodded, and then Lin Shi and Su Wanwan walked into the RV's kitchen. More than half an hour later, the four of them sat around the dining table, eating quietly. After the meal, Lin Yu volunteered to clean up. After tidying up, the four of them sat around the coffee table together, their eyes fixed on the center, quietly waiting for Su Wanwan's talent treasure chest to refresh. Time ticked by. The moment the time on the central control screen jumped to exactly 18, a faint white light flashed, and a treasure chest appeared on the coffee table. Wu Di reached into his space and took out 2 treasure chests. One was the silver treasure chest obtained last night, and the other was the 100% completion treasure chest rewarded for clearing the dungeon. He placed them on the coffee table alongside Su Wanwan's talent treasure chest. Lin Yu's eyes lit up. She leaned toward the coffee table and muttered expectantly, I wonder what good things will come out today. If only we could get a house, then we could live inside the realm and wouldn't have to stay in the RV all the time. Oh, and also, do you think a computer could come out of these? I've never seen one on the trading channel. I really miss them. Lin Shi looked at Lin Yu's excitable behavior and helplessly covered her forehead. Su Wanwan couldn't help but smile, reaching out to rub Lin Yu's hair. Xiao Yu is so cute, but even if you had a computer, you wouldn't have internet. Lin Yu, who had been chattering away, immediately felt her cheeks flush at Su Wanwan's praise. She lowered her head shyly and stopped talking. All right, let's open the chests. Let's see what we harvest today. Hopefully we get something we need, Wu Di interrupted them. Su Wanwan nodded, took a deep breath, and reached out to touch her talent treasure chest. She then displayed the blueprint. Heavy anti-collision side skirt design blueprint, green quality, vehicle-mounted item. Side skirts are installed on both sides of the vehicle body, which can effectively resist side impacts, avoid damage to the chassis and doors, and improve the vehicle's side defense capabilities. Crafting requirements: metal block X3, rubber X2. After reading the item description, Wu Di nodded slowly. A very practical blueprint. It would be great to have more blueprints like this. It just happens to make up for our lack of vehicle body defense. Then, the three of them turned their gazes toward Lin Shi. Lin Shi looked at Wu Di, and seeing him nod slightly, she said to Lin Yu, Xiao Yu, give me the buff. Lin Yue immediately raised her hand and released her talent enhancement on Lin Shi. Lin Shi took a deep breath and reached out to touch the silver treasure chest. Lin Shi checked the harvest while reading aloud softly. 30 units of fuel, 20 metal blocks, and a blueprint. Then she expanded the blueprint's attributes for the three of them to see. Environmental Mimicry Camouflage Net Design Blueprint. Green quality. Vehicle-mounted item. After use, a specialized vehicle-mounted environmental mimicry camouflage net can be crafted to achieve basic visual camouflage. The concealment effect is good when stationary, but the effect decreases slightly when moving. It cannot shield heat sources, sound, or radar detection. Crafting requirements: metal block X1, plastic X2, rubber X2. "Sister, your luck is terrible," Lin Yu blurted out after seeing the harvest. Chapter 100. Is this harvest normal? Lin Shi suppressed the urge to beat Lin Yu up, glanced at Wu Di, and reached out to open the final dungeon clearance treasure chest. Then, Lin Shi froze, standing there dazed for a long time without recovering. It wasn't until Wu Di coughed lightly that she snapped out of it and hurriedly displayed all the items from the treasure chest before everyone. Divine Machine Overload Core. Special item. A condensed overload energy core derived from the ancient war construct. Must be manually placed in a target area. Once activated, it enters a timed detonation mode with a freely settable countdown. Upon triggering, it releases violent ancient construct energy, creating a large-scale devastating explosion with destructive power against buildings, heavy armor, and clustered enemies. Construct Soldier. Armor Xuan Jia Battle Armor. One-time use item. Upon use, summons a Xuan Jia Battle Armor. Consumption: 100 to 1,000 units of metal block. 1 energy core, 100 to 1,000 units of electronic component, 100% rubber, 100% plastic, 100 glass. Constructs a humanoid metal mecha puppet. The mecha's arms are equipped with melee alloy arm blades and a small energy launcher, possessing basic combat logic and low-level intelligence. The mecha's strength, defense, attack power, and endurance depend on the quantity and quality of the materials invested. The energy core is replaceable. The mecha exists permanently until destroyed and cannot be repaired. Constructor's Iron Warding Armor Blueprint. Gold quality. Vehicle item. Derived from the eternal iron-warding forging techniques of the ancient war construct. Can create a complete set of full-coverage, retractable armor. When deployed, the armor completely envelops all parts of the vehicle, forming a defense with no blind spots. It can be freely raised, lowered, opened, or closed via the intelligent hub. Significantly increases physical defense, ignores conventional explosion impacts, and provides high immunity to corrosion, poison mist, and energy attacks. Energy consumption plus 100%. Installation requirement, level 4 or higher vehicle. Production requirement, 100 metal block, 100 electronic component, 100 atomic mass substance. Big Brother Wu Di, there are also 100 units of atomic mass substance in the chest, Lin Shi added. After seeing this long list of heaven-defying attributes, Su Wanwan, Lin Yu, and Wu Di himself were all completely stunned, just like Lin Shi had been, unable to speak for a long time. The entire RV was so quiet that only the sound of breathing remained. Sister, you're really amazing." Lin Yu was the first to react, grabbing Lin Shi's arm and praising her desperately, her eyes practically sparkling. This is too exaggerated. A gold-quality blueprint and this summoning mecha. Could it be summoning that final boss? Su Wanwan was also full of wonder. "Zixi, your talent is just too powerful." Lin Shi's cheeks flushed from their praise, and she felt a bit embarrassed. The grade of this clearance treasure chest was probably high to begin with. It's not entirely my doing. As they spoke, they all instinctively turned their gaze toward Wu Di. Wu Di stared at the 3 heaven-defying items before him, his heart still trembling slightly. He took a deep breath, looked up at Lin Shi seriously, and said with extreme gravity, "You've truly performed a great service this time." Lin Shi felt a bit shy under his gaze. As she handed everything over to Wu Di, she said, "Big Brother Wu Di, you said it yourself, we're a team. Besides, you've always been the one protecting us. This is nothing." Wu Di took the item